In 2021, a team scanning the Arabian desert saw something strange. Vast stone rectangles stretching across the landscape. No inscriptions, no tombs, no tools, just long, low walls, silent and precise. On foot, they vanished into the terrain. But from above, they lit up the satellite maps like ancient signals, coded in stone. For months, they remained a mystery. And the answer didn't come from a dig. It came from an algorithm. 3 years earlier, in a completely different landscape, a plane equipped with lasers had flown over the dense Guatemalan jungle. Beneath the canopy, those laser pulses uncovered what human eyes had missed for centuries: a sprawling Maya metropolis with highways, fortresses, and entire city grids, all concealed under trees. These weren't isolated discoveries, they were signs of a shift. Welcome to Armchair Archaeology. In this video, we explore how archaeologists are uncovering the ancient world using satellites, sensors, artificial intelligence, and light. From decoding forgotten languages to mapping cities no one knew existed, this isn't the end of archaeology. It's a new beginning. Stay with us until the end, because one of the world's greatest empires lost a city for over 1,000 years. No one knew it was there. Not locals, not explorers, not even monks who lived nearby. It took a laser in the sky to bring it back. Before we dive into the jungle, take a second to subscribe. Every week we bring you discoveries that change how we see the past, and we'd love to have you along for the ride. In the Maya lowlands of northern Guatemala, dense jungle hides more than it reveals. For decades, archaeologists relied on machetes, footpaths, and aerial photography to find ancient cities, but even towering pyramids looked like nothing more than forest-covered hills. Mapping a single site could take years, sometimes decades. Entire regions remained unknowable. That changed in 2018, when researchers flew a small plane over the jungle with a LiDAR scanner on board. LiDAR, short for light detection and ranging, works by firing laser pulses at the ground. Some bounce off trees, but others reach the surface. When processed by software, those points form a detailed 3D map of the landscape, stripping away vegetation and showing the world as it really is. What that scan revealed stunned everyone. Instead of a few scattered ceremonial centers, the jungle opened up to reveal a connected civilization. Over 60,000 previously unknown structures appeared. Fortresses, roads, reservoirs, raised fields, and urban complexes, all tightly woven into an engineered landscape. Defensive walls stretched for miles. Causeways connected distant settlements. This wasn't wilderness dotted with temples, it was infrastructure. Population estimates more than doubled. Scholars began comparing the region's scale and density to ancient Greece or China, and perhaps most striking of all, no new sites were discovered. These cities had always been there, obscured by time and trees, but never truly gone. They were just waiting for us to look differently. In a way, it mirrors the modern world. Cities grow, decay, and get paved over. But the story remains, layer upon layer. In the Maya forest, those layers were organic, not concrete, but the result was the same. A civilization that endured even after its outline faded from view. Across ancient cities, tablets, walls, and monuments lie covered in writing that no one alive can read. Some scripts, like Egyptian hieroglyphs, were deciphered thanks to lucky finds like the Rosetta Stone. Others, like Linear Elamite or the Indus script, have resisted every attempt. They hold the thoughts of people long gone, locked behind symbols whose meanings have been forgotten. These aren't just puzzles, they're voices, and the longer they stay undeciphered, the longer those voices remain silent. Decoding a lost language is like solving a puzzle with most of the pieces missing. Scholars search for repeated patterns, look for names or titles, and hope for a bilingual inscription. It can take decades to make progress, sometimes even centuries. Now, artificial intelligence is offering a new kind of help. AI doesn't understand language, but it's incredibly good at spotting patterns, recurring symbols, structural repetitions, and statistical anomalies across thousands of examples. It can suggest where phrases begin, what might be missing, and where relationships between signs exist. That's how researchers recently made progress on Linear Elamite, a 4,000-year-old script from ancient Iran. With fewer than 50 inscriptions and no translation key, scholars had been stuck for generations. But AI-assisted analysis found consistent clusters of symbols, especially in royal contexts. Those clusters became a foothold, allowing linguists to propose phonetic values for some signs for the first time in history. In Mesopotamian archaeology, similar tools are helping restore broken cuneiform tablets by comparing fragments to intact texts. In one remarkable case, AI reconstructed part of a lost Sumerian creation myth, reviving lines unreadable since antiquity. These advances don't replace expertise, they empower it. And each time a forgotten word is deciphered, it isn't just a breakthrough. It's the return of a voice, once silenced, now heard again across thousands of years. And if you want more mysteries like these, from undeciphered scripts to lost technologies, check out our ebook, Secrets of the Ancient World. The link's in the pinned comment. In the dry, windswept plains of northern Arabia, low stone walls stretch across the desert like echoes of forgotten architecture. Known as Mustatils, Arabic for rectangles, these structures were first noticed in aerial images in the 1970s. On foot, they blend into the landscape. Built from unshaped stones and worn smooth by 7 millennia of wind and sand, they're barely visible, but from above, their geometry is unmistakable. Long rectangular enclosures, sometimes over 600 meters long, scattered across hundreds of kilometers. For decades, archaeologists puzzled over their purpose. They weren't tombs, homes, or defensive walls. They left no inscriptions, tools, or clear signs of use. Yet their number and scale hinted at a shared cultural significance, something coordinated and likely spiritual. In 2021, researchers applied machine learning to satellite imagery, analyzing thousands of Mustatils across the region. Patterns emerged. Many structures were aligned with distant hills or seasonal water sources. Some clustered in groups or formed long, directional lines, as if part of a broader ritual landscape. When a team excavated several sites, they uncovered something striking: carefully placed cattle skulls, arranged at the center of the enclosures. There were no other bones, no signs of butchering, just skulls, intact and deliberately positioned. These weren't remnants of meals. They were offerings. Radiocarbon dating placed the oldest Mustatils at over 7,000 years old, older than Stonehenge, older than the Great Pyramids. The structures point to one of the world's earliest monumental ritual traditions, likely tied to a Neolithic belief system centered on cattle, fertility, and the landscape itself. AI didn't interpret the meaning, but it revealed the map, helping archaeologists trace a forgotten sacred geography across the desert, hidden for millennia in stone. What's your favorite ancient mystery? Let us know in the comments. Your questions and theories could shape a future video. Archaeology often begins with fragments: walls half buried, collapsed staircases, faint outlines of rooms in the soil. For most of its history, the field relied on sketches, floor plans, and written descriptions to imagine what once stood. But now, with powerful digital tools, archaeologists are rebuilding entire sites virtually and in ways that change what we know. Using drones, laser scanners, and photogrammetry, researchers create detailed 3D models of ancient buildings, cities, and landscapes. These digital twins aren't speculative illustrations. They're grounded in precise data. Archaeologists can simulate the path of sunlight through temple corridors, test how voices echoed in a ritual chamber, or explore how crowds navigated narrow city streets. At Çatalhöyük, a 9,000-year-old settlement in Turkey, this approach changed the interpretation of the site. After decades of digging, researchers had missed something. The homes had no visible doors, but the 3D reconstructions revealed a pattern. Access came from the rooftops. Residents climbed down ladders to enter their homes. That realization reshaped our understanding of privacy, circulation, and daily life in one of the world's earliest cities. In Pompeii, virtual models allow researchers to simulate foot traffic, reconstruct rooms lost to time, and even test how volcanic debris spread during the eruption. These models are not just scholarly, they're increasingly public. Anyone with an internet connection can walk through a Roman villa or navigate a Bronze Age alleyway. For many viewers, these virtual spaces are the closest they'll ever get to standing inside history. And now they can. Virtual archaeology doesn't replace excavation, but it extends its reach. It preserves what's too fragile to survive and opens ancient spaces to people everywhere. In doing so, it offers something rare. Not just a glimpse of the past, but the chance to walk through it. In the high-altitude valleys of the Andes, the landscape tells a story if you know how to read it. Terraces ripple across mountain slopes. Stone canals trace the paths of ancient rivers, and geometric patterns stretch for miles across flat plains. These are the remnants of pre-Columbian engineering, once vital to feeding entire civilizations. Today, much of it lies buried, weathered, or obscured, but thanks to drone technology, that is beginning to change. Archaeologists now use drones equipped with high-resolution cameras and LiDAR sensors to scan these rugged terrains from above. The results have been extraordinary. In regions once thought sparsely developed, aerial imagery has revealed vast systems of raised fields, irrigation channels, and hydraulic earthworks. What appeared at first to be natural ridges and depressions were, in fact, carefully constructed features. Reassembled as digital models, they reveal a level of agricultural planning and environmental control that rivals modern precision. Near Lake Titicaca, researchers mapped enormous platforms known as waru-waru, raised planting beds interlaced with shallow canals. During the day, the canals absorbed solar heat. At night, they released it, forming a thermal blanket that protected crops from frost. This technique was used for centuries, then abandoned. Now, it's being revived. Faced with erratic rainfall, crop failures, and soil degradation, some Andean communities are restoring waru-waru as climate-resilient alternatives to modern farming. Archaeologists and farmers work side by side, applying ancient designs with modern tools. The goal isn't to return to the past, but to learn from it. The drones didn't uncover these systems. They revealed what had always been visible, if only we'd looked from the right angle. In doing so, they've bridged not just centuries, but ways of thinking, offering old answers to new questions. We go deeper into ancient innovations, like Inca engineering and forgotten farming systems in Secrets of the Ancient World. It's packed with stories that didn't make it into this video. For every dramatic discovery in the field, there are thousands of quieter ones waiting in storage. Museums and excavation teams often accumulate vast quantities of objects: pottery shards, bones, tools, fragments of sculpture, most of which remain uncatalogued for years. Not because they're unimportant, but because there simply aren't enough trained hands to process them all. That's where artificial intelligence is beginning to change the equation. In labs and archives around the world, archaeologists are training machine learning models to assist with one of the field's most time-consuming tasks: artifact classification. By feeding these models large datasets, photos of pottery, inscriptions, or textile fragments, AI can learn to identify patterns, sort materials, and suggest cultural or chronological matches. One system, trained on thousands of Roman fresco fragments, made headlines after it helped digitally reassemble a collapsed wall painting from a villa near Pompeii. By hand, that puzzle might have taken years. With AI, a likely layout emerged in just weeks. Another model, designed to work with broken ceramics, can estimate missing sections, reconstruct vessel shapes, and match rim profiles across excavation layers. This isn't automation replacing expertise. It's a way to focus expert attention where it matters most. Instead of sorting through endless boxes, archaeologists can prioritize what AI flags as unusual, rare, or significant. And the scale is enormous. Some museum archives hold millions of items. AI doesn't just help us find what we're looking for. It may uncover things we didn't even know we had. By turning a backlog into a database and fragments into patterns, AI offers a new kind of excavation, one that happens indoors, pixel by pixel. If you're enjoying this video and want to support the channel, consider hitting the super thanks button. It helps us keep exploring, one discovery at a time. In many of the world's oldest cities, history lies hidden just below the surface. Layers of past civilizations are stacked beneath modern homes, roads, and shops. But digging into these layers is often impossible without disrupting daily life. That's where ground-penetrating radar, magnetometry, and 3D modeling are opening new possibilities, allowing archaeologists to explore ancient cityscapes without disturbing a single stone. Rome's underground scans have revealed long-forgotten apartment blocks, shops, and cisterns beneath famous landmarks. In Istanbul, digital mapping has exposed layers of Byzantine construction buried beneath modern neighborhoods. These tools don't just locate ruins, they reconstruct how cities grew, changed, and reused their own foundations over centuries. In Naples, researchers faced a maze of modern streets built atop ancient structures. But by combining ground-penetrating radar with architectural plans drawn in the 1700s, when new basements were cut into old foundations, they uncovered the remains of a Greek theater complex hidden beneath apartment buildings. The cellar walls, it turned out, followed the same curve as the long-vanished stage. No digging was needed, just data, memory, and alignment. Digital urban archaeology doesn't end with discovery. Once scans are complete, archaeologists build multi-layered virtual models, letting them walk through lost neighborhoods, analyze room layouts, and track how light, noise, and movement shaped daily life. These reconstructions guide future excavations, but they also offer a way to preserve history in cities where no spade can ever touch the ground. Even in the busiest streets, the past isn't gone. It's just waiting, silent, intact, and mapped in layers of signal and stone. And now, for the first time, we can see the cities beneath our cities with remarkable clarity. Artificial intelligence has become a powerful tool in archaeology, but it's not a neutral one. Algorithms don't think historically, they don't question assumptions. They detect patterns based on the data they've been given, and when that data is limited, biased, or misunderstood, the consequences go far beyond technical glitches. One risk is false discovery. A system trained to recognize city layouts may flag shapes, rectangles, grids, repeating lines that resemble architecture. But resemblance isn't reality. In North Africa, One widely circulated case involved a series of straight-line formations that AI flagged as possible Roman roads. The model detected linear order and symmetry, hallmarks of Roman planning. But geologists later confirmed the lines were natural fissures in volcanic rock. The system wasn't wrong. It just lacked cultural and geological context. It's a reminder: algorithms don't know history. They only know patterns, and sometimes they mistake shadows for stories. Mistakes like this can travel far. If such claims are repeated, mapped, or published without scrutiny, they risk becoming accepted history. In some cases, they've already influenced proposals for excavation, funding, even textbooks. And when AI tools are used in regions historically underrepresented in archaeology, the consequences deepen. If the model hasn't been trained on West African, Polynesian, or Indigenous American material, it may mislabel or overlook those sites entirely, not because they're invisible, but because they don't match the system's learned expectations. These are not technical problems, they're ethical ones. Data must be diverse, models must be challenged, and archaeologists must remain at the center of interpretation. AI can be a brilliant assistant, but it cannot replace human judgment. The past is not code. It's memory, culture, and meaning. And if we want to understand it responsibly, the tools we build must reflect that complexity. For much of its modern history, archaeology was conducted from the outside in. Researchers arrived, excavated, interpreted, and published, often without consulting the descendants of those who built the sites. But that model is changing. Across the globe, Indigenous communities are reclaiming their roles, not just as subjects of study, but as stewards, collaborators, and increasingly, leaders in the archaeological process. Digital tools are helping make this shift possible. From drone surveys to 3D modeling, technology is now being used not to extract knowledge, but to restore and protect it. In Western Canada, Coast Salish communities worked alongside archaeologists to locate ancient tidal fish traps, structures described in oral histories, but hidden beneath modern landscapes. Using satellite imagery and AI-assisted mapping, researchers identified more than 14,000 traps along the coastline. Their locations matched stories passed down for generations, stories long dismissed by colonial institutions as folklore. In Australia, Indigenous rangers are using LiDAR to map sacred rock art sites before they're lost to erosion or industry. Mobile platforms allow elders to archive songs, stories, and ceremonial paths in real time, creating digital records rooted in cultural authority. Here, tech doesn't lead, it listens. Crucially, the resulting data doesn't go to a museum or university, it stays in community hands. These projects don't just generate new data, they correct old imbalances. When digital archaeology is done with, not for, Indigenous communities, it becomes a form of cultural resilience, a way to preserve memory, assert identity, and reclaim agency over history. AI can detect a shape, it can draw a boundary, but it can't know what a place means. That knowledge lives in language, tradition, and relationship, and no algorithm can replace that. Archaeology was once defined by physical access. To excavate a site, you had to be there. To study artifacts, you needed entry into museums or exclusive collections. And to contribute, you usually needed the backing of an institution, funding, permits, and academic connections. That model excluded many people, especially those whose histories were being studied. But digital archaeology is changing that, broadening not just participation, but power. Today, high-resolution images, stratigraphic diagrams, and full 3D artifact models are often uploaded to open-access databases. Through photogrammetry and LiDAR, entire dig sites and landscapes can be scanned and reconstructed. Now anyone, scholars, students, or locals can explore inscriptions, measure ancient walls, and walk through digital ruins, all from their own corner of the world. During the COVID-19 pandemic, one excavation in Greece became a turning point. With fieldwork suspended, the team launched a fully virtual dig. Researchers and students from over 30 countries participated, tagging digital artifacts, analyzing soil layers, and co-authoring reports. It wasn't a placeholder, it was a new model of archaeology. This shift does more than increase access, it redistributes authority. Community members can now follow excavation updates, question interpretations, and contribute cultural context. Students from underfunded institutions can participate in global research. And collaboration no longer waits on travel or gatekeeping. But openness must be handled with care. Sacred sites, burial grounds, and cultural materials require ethical safeguards and community consent. Sharing must be thoughtful, not extractive. Still, the momentum is clear. The walls around archaeology are coming down, and for the first time, discovery is being shaped by a truly global conversation, one built not just on data, but on respect, collaboration, and shared curiosity. In 2018, as a LiDAR-equipped plane swept over the jungles of northern Guatemala, archaeologists expected to see scattered ruins. Instead, they saw roads, grids, fortifications, temples, not a single site, but a vast, interconnected Maya cityscape hidden beneath centuries of forest. Tens of thousands of structures, lost not through destruction, but through time, vegetation, and the limits of human vision. This was the moment promised in the introduction. A lost city, not discovered by chance or by shovel, but by laser beams in the sky, confirmed on foot only after the algorithms mapped the impossible. And it's not an isolated case. From the stone rectangles of Saudi Arabia to the songlines of Australia, from ancient fish traps on the Pacific coast to virtual dig sites in Greece, archaeology is changing, not just in how we discover the past, but in who gets to participate in that discovery, and what questions we ask once we find something. AI and digital tools will never replace fieldwork, but they can reframe it. They can point us where to look. They preserve the fragile, restore the forgotten, and amplify voices that history tried to silence. When used with care, they don't just give us new data, they give us new perspectives. The past isn't static, it's alive with reinterpretation. It shifts as our tools improve, and as our communities grow more inclusive, more curious, and more collaborative. That's just one lost city revealed by light and code. What else is still hidden? Subscribe to Armchair Archaeology and tell us which mystery we should uncover next. Because history isn't finished. We're still uncovering it together. Until our next discovery, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep the flame of curiosity burning bright.